Now, today we gonna be talking about nodes, and we need to understand what are nodes as far as Kubernetes is concerned. Now, in simple terms, a node in computing, especially in the context of networks and distributed system like Kubernetes, a node is just a single computer or a server. Now, think of it like this. Imagine you have a bunch of different computers like working together to do a big task like processing a lot of data or running many applications. Each of these individual computers is called a node. Okay. And let's take an example at home. Okay. In a home network, your laptop, your desktop, and smartphone can all be considered nodes because they are individual devices connected to a network. Now, I'm just going to give you a simple demonstration. So let's say we have a laptop here. This is a laptop. And then let's say we have a desktop here. And let's say we have your smartphone here. Now, all these are connected to one network, which is this one here. They're connected to one network, which is this one here. So your laptop, this one here, your desktop, and your smartphone, they become nodes. Okay. Now, in the context of Kubernetes, so now in the context of Kubernetes, a node is one of the machines. We call them the virtual or the physical machine that makes up your Kubernetes cluster. And we talked about cluster. We say the cluster is a collection of virtual machines or physical machines that work together. Okay. So a node is one of the machines inside your Kubernetes cluster. And each node runs applications and services that are part of the overall system, which is the cluster. So we're gonna be talking about accessing nodes via SSH, okay? And this allows you to access and control the nodes in the cluster remotely, okay? So that's how we're gonna do. We're gonna try to access and control the nodes in our cluster remotely. So the first thing that you need to do is to make sure you have Docker up and running. So I'm going to say Docker login, and then this is going to connect you to your Docker file. Okay. Or you can go ahead and start it manually. Just click on Docker on your desktop and run it. Then after that, we also need to make sure that we start our minikube start, then click on enter, and then this is gonna start our minikube. As you can see, updating the running Docker minikube container, and then this is gonna take a little bit of time, maybe like some few seconds before it starts fully. So preparing Kubernetes version, and then verifying Kubernetes components, and then it has started the image here. And then after that, we see done. kubectl is now configured using minikube cluster and default namespace by default. Okay. Now we talked about nodes, so we want to actually get inside the node. Okay, we want to access the node, and the way to access this node is using what we call SSH. So I'm gonna come here and type mini cube, then I'm gonna say SSH, and then I'm gonna click on enter. So then after that, using the following command, this SSH is gonna establish an SSH connection to the minikube node. Okay, so this one establishes a connection to the minikube node. Okay, and you can see, so we are Docker and then minikube. Then after that, what we're gonna do is so if you want to know which current directory you're in, so you're gonna type pwd, and this is gonna show you the directory that you're in. and you're in this directory here, home, and then the Docker, you're inside there. Then the next thing we're going to do is type cd, then slash, and these commands takes you to the root, the top level directory. So if I click on enter, I'm on the top level directory. And then after that, if I type ls, which I'm going to type here, if I type ls, and this ls command will display the files and the directories in your current directory. So if I click enter, you'll see that we have some files and that are in your current directory. Okay. Then after that, actually, what we're going to do is that we're going to type, and if I type cd, then bin, the cd bin command will change the directory to slash bin. Okay, as you can see, it will change the directory to slash bin folder, and this slash bin folder contains many system binaries. And actually, for us to access those binaries, what I'm going to do is just type ls, and then I'm going to click enter, and you can see all these binaries here. So if I want to change this root directory here, what I'm going to do is that I'll just say cd, then slash, and then I've changed the root directory. And then what I'm going to do is that I want to see the version of Docker that I'm running. And to do that, I'm just going to say Docker, then dash dash version, then click enter, and it's going to give me the version of Docker that I'm using, 2.6.1.1. Okay, then after that, if I want to see the command, if I want to see the current running containers, and if I want to see the current running container, so if I want to see the current running containers inside Docker, so I'm just going to say Docker and then click on PS, and then it's going to show me the container ID here, the images that are running, the commands, the status. Actually, if I zoom out and then I'm going to run it again, Docker PS. So I'll say Docker PS. As you can see, so this is gonna give me the container ID. So I've just zoomed out. So this is gonna give me the ports, the image here, the name of the images. Okay. Then this is gonna give me the time that the images were created 7 minutes ago. And then yeah. So basically, these are the running containers, and you can see these are container IDs. Okay, and this format provides a clear and structured guide for accessing Node via SSH and performing common tasks. How to create two nodes? So let's say you have a Kubernetes cluster that is running and you need to create another node. Okay, now how do you create the second node, the third node, and the fourth node, and so on? So the first thing that you need to do is to ensure Minikube is started with a specified CNI plugin. And for this one, actually, what we're gonna do, we're gonna use Calico. So you're gonna say Minikube start dash dash CNI and then specify the CNI. Okay. Then I'm gonna click on enter. And this one is gonna, you see now we're using Docker driver based on existing profile. And then now we are pulling the image, and it's gonna take a little bit of time. So we're updating the running Docker Minikube container. Then we are preparing Kubernetes version v1, then verifying Kubernetes component, and then done. The kubectl is now configured to ensure Minikube cluster and default namespace by default. Okay. Now, the next thing that you need to do is now go ahead and add the minikube. So you're going to say minikube. Now, this we are adding a new node to an existing cluster. So for you to do that, you just have to say minikube. Then you're going to say node add. So we are adding a new node inside our cluster. So if I click on enter, you see cluster was created without any CNI. Adding a node to it might cause broken network. That's why we created a network here. That's why we added this one, just to avoid any network breaking. So pulling the image, creating Docker, there you go, memory allocated, successfully added this Docker here. So what I'm going to do, I'll just go ahead and say minikube, then status, just like that. And then I'm going to have now this one here is the type, the control plane. And now this is minikube that has been added here. So let's say we need to add another node. So this is the first node here. Let's say I need to add another node. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just say minikube node add. So this is going to add uh, node 3 actually. So this is 1, 2, and then we are adding now the third node. As you can see, this is a worker node, and the host, this is host. This is the control plane actually here. The type is control plane. The type is a worker node here. Okay. Then minikube 3 added. So I'm going to say minikube status, then click on enter. And then we're going to have the control plane and then the two worker nodes here. Okay. So we can also say to verify that the network node are added and the network is functioning. So what you're going to do, you're going to say, just to verify if the network is functioning, you're going to say kubectl and then get nodes. So you click enter, and then we have the minikube here, 1, 2, and 3. So we have the status that they are ready. Okay, and these are the versions here. Okay, so they play no role. And then so you can also go ahead and check the API. So you can say minikube, just like that, minikube, and then IP. So we have, this is the IP here. This is the IP. Then let's say we need to check the IP of minikube 2. So you're going to say minikube. So I'm going to bring that minikube, then dash dash the node, and then the node is equals to this minikube here. So I'm going to say minikube and then dash M02. Okay. I think it's wait, 2, like that. Then this is going to give me the IP address of minikube 2. So this is how you add a node inside an existing Kubernetes cluster.